pumping in brewing or pumping brew intelligently. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to be welcoming on stage Mr. Chethan Khamkar, Sales Developer, F&B Pharma, Chemical, IMEA, Grundfos Pumps, India Private Limited. Over to you, sir.
Hello? No audible? Hello? Yeah, now I think I'm audible. Okay. First of all, a very good evening to one and all. Welcome to this marvelous event organized for the first time for a microbrewery segment. And I'll have a small presentation where the purpose of the presentation would be to notice how a molecule of water will pass through different stages and come out. And in order to pressurize that molecule, in order to have that molecule going through different stages, how would we encompass this with our current sustainability goals? Lesser usage of water and lesser energy consumption. So that will be my topic of presentation. I will start by introducing my company first. So to give an idea how we are placed, not only in India, but also globally. So with this, let me start my presentation. So here we are. We are a group of company which is a Danish firm. All started in 1945 by our founder member, Paul Johansen. And it was the first submersible pump which we invented, and then rest is a history. More than 77 years have passed. Right now we are about 3.8 billion euros as a turnover, net turnover, as per the last year's statistics. And we are a team of 19,000 employees globally. We have our manufacturing plants globally, 34 manufacturing plants globally, and which is catering to assembly units of 15 numbers. So to take into perspective from Indian perspective, we have two assembly plants. One is in Chennai and one is in Ahmedabad, which is catering to the needs of Indian subcontinent. So this is our third generation of founder member. If you notice this slide suggests 88% of the ownership is still with the foundation. So this is essentially a family-owned business. Now, this gives a very strong backup information about how we are taking our growth prospects. We want to be not only in this current scenario, but we are looking at future very strongly. And that's why the stake is still with our owners, and we are maintaining that. If you see the next part of it, our 5% of our profitability is always, every year on year, we invest it in future R&D developments. So that ensures us to have products, solutions, mostly application-based, to getting rolled out every year on year. Now, with this, let's start on the core topic. As I said, I'll be taking you through a molecule of water, how it progresses through different stages. Now, if you see, for this to happen, we would require pumps, we would require certain accessories of pumps, and pumps is on the first part of it, so that's known to everybody. It's single-stage pumps. There are many manufacturers in this segment. But if you see the right part of the story, extreme right, this pump doesn't work alone. Or in order to pumping to work efficiently, it has to coordinate with different accessories. Now, accessories can be sensors, accessories can be drives, accessories can be communication with the backend system, and this has to work in tandem. So today, what are we discussing? We are discussing about lesser breakdowns. We are discussing about lesser downtimes. So will it make a difference if we have one vendor who will give all this and take one ownership for this? Plus, while doing that, enhancing the efficiency of the plant. So that is where the center of the product, which we see here, e-pumps, which comes into perspective. Now, whatever we see in the right, drives, communications protocols, sensors, can be incorporated with this center product, which is the iSolution product. Now, our e-pumps, we say. Now, when you talk about these pumps can work on their own. And this has very extremely user-friendly interface where we can set in whatever parameters we have. From pumping perspective, we require 4 parameters to be looked at. One is the level, one is the pressure, one is the flow, and temperature. All this can be configured on the HMI of the pump itself. So isn't it a very ergonomically user-friendly solution? That's where we are. That's where we are manufacturing it. Now, while doing that, we also enhance the efficiencies, the motor efficiencies, along with the pump efficiencies. We are right now talking about something which is IE5, as per IEC norms. So that's the maximum efficiency we have. If I go ahead, it can give you this many parameters. Now, parameters as in sense, we can talk about power consumption, you can talk about RPM, you can talk about running hours, you can talk about communicating between the pumps, it can talk about temperatures of water. Obviously, for certain parameters, it would require sensor inputs. So that can be directly taken by this pump on its control panel itself. So we are trying to give you a solution to you, which is not essentially a pump, but it's a solution which is application-based. Now, what are these applications? Let us see in brewery what can we have. So from brewery perspective, we will require pumps, require disinfection systems, because it has to follow certain standards. We are dealing with beer which is meant for human consumption. So whatever happens, we are dealing with organisms as well, which are benefiting for human being. But this cannot be left at large with wastewater kind of solution. So we are talking about disinfection systems which are chlorine or chlorine dioxide based. So we have those part as well to treat the wastewater or maybe the source of water. We are talking about solutions which are into pump controllers. So in an event, if you need to have application-based solutions, you need to have controllers which can communicate with a backend system. At the same time, it should also communicate with different accessories and pumps as well. So it will work as one unit altogether, giving you one vendor responsibility, and also your downtimes will be lesser. We are talking about sensor solutions. So we have a stall here where we have put our sensors also on display. So these sensors are essentially the pressure or differential pressure transmitters. These are flow transmitters. These are combo transmitters where we'll have both the signals. We'll have pressure as well as temperature as well. So if it's required, we can have combination sensors as well. So in a nutshell, if I try to have this on one platform, in the sense, and different stages in a brewery, we have pumps application in case of boiler application. So you need a steam to heat the water when malt, or as we say, barley is to be boiled for. So we have pumps for boiler feed applications, and with an intelligent control, as I said, application-based control, which will also not only ensure right amount of flow is going in, but also have an impact with other essential parameters of the boiler, like steam quality or maybe your fuel consumptions as well. If you go further, after heating process, you need to cool it down. You cool it down where probably your glycol cooling systems comes into place. Now we have pumps which can take in glycol pumping as well, with supplying it to different loads, cooling it to a temperature where probably, as said, yeast can be mixed and then probably yeast can be added, probably the further process can be taken place. Further to which, we have pumps for the water intake as well. So if you're having a source of water coming from maybe a river or maybe the local dam authorities or municipal authorities, you need to have it pumped from the underground tanks to the overhead tanks. For that, we have submersible pumps. We have single-stage end suction surface pumps as well, which comes into picture, followed by cleaning in place. For cleaning in place, we require high-pressure pumps, probably with hot water arrangements or pressurized water arrangements. So both with this kind of arrangements we have. We have cooling systems, as I said, the purpose of this presentation slide is not to go into details, but I need to give you an idea where and how we can play our part. So construction-wise, I will not go into details of end suction, multi-stage, inline or end suction. I mean, this will be a confusing presentation. So I will just give you an idea where we are playing our part. From water treatment perspective, we have solutions which not only give pumping, that is centrifugal or metering pumps, but also give control solutions. So these solutions are something which is user-friendly. At the same time, this also gives you an efficiency part, like lesser chemical consumptions, at the same time, lesser power consumption as well. When I talk about water reuse, we have a very essential case study which we have done for a brewery in Denmark, which will be followed by a small case study. I will take it in the last, how we have helped the brewery in consuming less water for producing 1 liter of beer. Then at the fag left end, we have something called as conditioning monitoring. Now, things are moving in a north direction where we are looking at something which is preventive maintenance. When we talk about preventive maintenance, it is essential we should track not only the pressure or flow or temperature or level part of the pumps, but also the vibration part. We have electric motors into it. So we have sensors which can track in vibration as well. And based on its own, algorithm can predict you if there is any predictive maintenance to be required. So that you will be essentially equipped with all spares at the right time without having, with having lesser downtime. So that's our motto. Now, this is the solution which we have talked for water treatment perspective. Now, water treatment, when it comes into place, we design it for the worst kind of scenarios, TDS at the worst kind of scenarios, and for which we have dosing of chemicals, so that our final quality of water is very much equivalent to be used as for production of beers. But what if the TDS quality varies? Now, when a TDS quality varies, your dosing has also to vary, and this cannot be predicted, at least in Indian kind of scenarios. So for that, we have certain controllers. We have devised it for for metering pumps as well as centrifugal pumps, which will essentially dynamically, based on input water parameters, it will change the set points. Now, what will that give it to you? That will give it to you a lesser backwash cycles. That will give you lesser CEB, chemical enhanced backwash, and this will also reduce in. This also help you on less consumption on high pressure pumps across the membranes as well. So the whole idea is giving you savings in chemical, savings in power, and at the same time a solution which is not complicated, and at the same time also giving a solution which is from one vendor. So we don't have to call different vendors, get their try to find out solutions. So that is the idea where we are coming from. We are not only for sales here, we also have service segment for us. These are the services which we provide from service perspective. We are there for supporting you in spares. We are there to you for supporting you in inspections. We are regularly conducting energy checks, energy audits for the existing installation as well. In order to us to understand whether really that has to be changed, we are in requirement of changing the current scenario. Further to which, if these are the three parameters on which nowadays breweries are taking shape. No, they are looking at something which should have lesser footprint in terms of lesser CO2 footprint. Now that is something talking about energy savings. If you go into process efficiency, we are looking at lesser downtime. So there should be something as condition monitoring or controllers which will help you in essentially understanding what actually is happening in your process and how we can ensure your process will run continuously. And then last but not the least, now we have total cost of ownership. So if we are being contacted at the right point of time, we can help you in the total cost of ownership of plants as well. So this is on three parameters as a punch points I would like to look for any brewery to operate and where we can play our part. So now I'll talk about a case study which we have done in Denmark. So this was for a brewery in Denmark where the consumption of water was 3.4 liters for producing 1 liter of beer. Now when it was analyzed, it was looked after like 65% of the water was utilized for CIP processes. And this water, since it was used for CIP processes, has to be treated and then left to, after treating, it was left to the reservoirs to take care of. But if we go into details, when we went into details, we understood like if we treat this water and we remove all the harmful chemicals, 90% of this water can be reused. So that 90% of water cannot be used in beer manufacturing or bottling the beer, but essentially the same water can be used for cleaning purposes. So that's how the whole study was done. And we were successful in getting, for producing 1 liter of beer, the volume of water which can be used dropped down from 3.4 to 1.7. So it was 50% of the water savings was noticed after doing this study. Now, this is where the things are going on. We are talking about sustainability. We're talking about water consumption per liter of beer manufacturing. This is where things will be going on in future as well. And there we are right now. What essentially a person or any owner needs to understand is how can we reduce our downtime, because the downtime is something which is killing the cost part of it. So this is where I would like you to think, and that's why this slide was put into perspective. Can we essentially have lesser amount of downtime or lesser unplanned man-hours so that, not only at the time of putting up the plant, but also in the operations of the plant, when the plant is operating, your cost should not have a hiccup, a weird kind of operation cost or maintenance cost coming up. So this is what I would like to have a takeaway for all the people here, followed by if anybody is looking forward for any projects to be put in and want to have a discussion, we are there here. We have a team here all together. This is our stall, and I would like to introduce my sales head also, who is sitting here. Shankar Rajaram and regional sales head James also are sitting here. So we have a team, not only from sales, but service also here. We can discuss on any projects where probably pumps can play its part. So that's all from my side. Thank you.